Good morning, everybody. This is the Oskar Quentin Show, where I take calls from the general public on TikTok Live, and we discuss politics and whatever else comes up. If you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, there'll be a pinned comment below telling you when the calls start, as well as some more comprehensive timestamps in the description, so you don't have to just listen to me yap until I get a caller, because there's always a little bit of housekeeping. Like at the very beginning of the show, I get the backup account in the corner, which just sits there as a means to make sure that people who watch this show can follow that account in case I get banned. So make sure you're following Oskar Quentin 2 and Oskar Quentin Music, in addition to my regular TikTok account, which is just Oskar Quentin. All right, let's accept myself into the show and get myself muted so we don't have to listen to all that chatter. Further announcement, we will be very, very soon taking phone number calls from the public, not through TikTok Live. So if you're one of the people who's been watching and has wanted to call in and argue with me, but you think that I'm just keeping it to TikTok, it has just been a technical issue that I have decided to solve in a slightly more roundabout way than most people who have been taking phone calls from the general public on TikTok. But I do finally have the production phone for the show. Just came in yesterday, day before yesterday. Haven't had enough time to deal with it, but I'm going to set that up soon. So there will soon be a phone number on the screen that you can call to get in on the show, which is exciting because we'll get some new callers, hopefully. I'm going to take a moment to thank Garrett, who is this just now? Did this come in? He sent me $40 on Venmo with like just an emoji like that. No message. Thank you, Garrett. I don't know if you're watching, but if you are, thank you very much. If you're not watching, thank you anyway. Garrett went to the link tree in the bio, and he found my Venmo, Cash App, Buy Me a Coffee, or Patreon. He found one of them. He found the Venmo. Buy Me a Coffee is international, but those are the methods to get the show paid for, because the show runs on donations from viewers like you. Some ad money. The ad money's good. The ad money helps. But most of the show is paid for just by direct donations from people who want the show to be successful. So I can pay people like Raven, who's sitting in the producer's chair today. Good morning, Raven.
Good morning.
And Jessie, who's the show's producer and kind of my manager, because my life has become crazy as of late. And having a person who I pay to keep me under control is good. It's good. Helps keep the ADHD from making the to-do lists too long if I have somebody else manage them with me. So I very much appreciate that. I also very much appreciate Kronos for sending $2 on YouTube Super Chat saying, "Here's my dono tax, low on funds and energy today. Kronos, take a fucking nap, buddy. He works too much." Metal God sent $2 to say, "Like, share, sub, follow, and repost, or else." Or else what? We don't make threats here on the show. Thank you for the $2, Metal Gods.
Speaking of which, YouTube chatters, make sure you back out of the live chat and go thumbs up the live. It really helps us out.
It does. It really does. The YouTube streams have been doing very, very well. We're pushing up against 500 concurrent. What do you know off the top of your head what our peak is? It was like,
I think you said 483.
Something like that. We were very, very close just the other day. So yeah, we'll see if maybe we push past that today. We'll see if we have a high energy stream, and we might be hitting the ground running with a call from Stanley the Manly Johnson. I guess we're going to see if he's manly or whatever. Maybe find out whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean in 2026. Hello. How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 35.
Oh, wait. Hold on. I can't hear you, but everybody else can. Uh-oh. There we go. Start over. Now I should be able to hear you. How old are you?
1212.
There we go. The show could hear you, but I couldn't hear you. That's fixed. How old are you?
I said 35.
35. Are you a Trump supporter?
I would say so.
Okay, why is that?
Yeah, so I think in general, for me, I'm liking his policy on, oh dear Lord.
Well, I wouldn't say, you know what, maybe if that's a real man in 2026, we can learn a lesson. Everybody act like that guy if you want to be a real man in 2026. Little Sal Pal sent $5 on YouTube Super Chat to say, "Morning. Yesterday, a caller was asking for stats on racial inequality. Wanted to provide this. Racism in America statistics at world metrics." Write that one down, Raven. I'm actually, one of the things I've been meaning to remind Raven, so I'll just do it on air, because I haven't really given this instruction. We gotta start collecting those moments when I have a slightly difficult time pulling up a statistic quickly. We need to, like, write those down and make that a to-do list item so we can, you, me, and Jessie can, as the production team, have a good grasp of where all the bookmarks are, because the resource pile is getting out of hand, and it's making it so that we can't pull things very quickly, and, it's better for the show if we can pull the resources very, very quickly. Speaking of which, I should get the Discord open, because I have not been good at watching the Discord. Yeah, there's some comments about Fauci that I should have read. I did have a report written by Jessie on Fauci's situation this morning, so maybe we'll talk about that a little bit on the show. But we're going to talk to Perry Mifflin, and we're going to see if... oh, no, the request The request was canceled the moment I clicked it. I don't think he meant to be in the queue. So that's all we've got so far today. Just another man-child who likes farting into the microphone for people. It gets sometimes some childish stuff happens when people call in. But that's the situation we're in. We had some trolls. I think that I quelled the We Are Charlie Kirk trolls better than most because I'm decent enough at singing that it was funny enough for them. Well, it was funny enough for my audience that when people called in to sing the Charlie Kirk song, I would just sing it back to them and do a better job. So they stopped calling in. It wasn't very fun for the trolls to get voice mocked by the twerp on TikTok Live. Oh God, is this a Screechmiester episode? Are we starting with Screechmiester? I don't know. He left. He left the moment I said it. I like talking to Screechmeister, but I can't give him too much airtime. We got to spread him out.
Can we make him talk about trans issues?
Maybe. Okay, the chat says ban him. I don't know. I'm bringing him in. Remind me how old you are, Screechmeister?
55.
Okay. Do you think that trans people deserve rights?
I'm going to claim the Fifth Amendment.
Why?
Because I don't talk about that. I told you that the other fucking day. Why do we got to start with that?
Because I find it very interesting that you don't want to talk about that. I feel like asking whether or not people should have rights shouldn't be a plead the fifth type of question.
People should have rights, yes.
Should trans people have rights?
Not special rights.
I didn't say special rights. I just said rights.
Okay, people should have rights.
Okay. That's a good start. Do you think that life is difficult for trans people in a way that isn't their fault?
I don't know. I don't have much trans friends. Next topic.
Why does this topic make you so uncomfortable?
Because I don't like talking about trans.
Can you say
It's
trans
not, is
people? It's preferable.
I don't like talking about trans, period. It's not.
Can you say
something
trans
that I talk
people
about.
instead of trans?
Why do I always got to do things that you want me to do?
I asked a question.
You're acting like a dictator.
I asked a question, and I can answer your question, which is that a lot of people, would suffer less if you said trans people instead of trans.
Why are they suffering just because I call them trans?
See, my issue with your approach to this is that you care more about why they suffer than that they suffer.
No, I've just claimed the fifth. Why am I even talking? I refuse to talk about this topic.
I don't know, dude. You called in. This isn't a courtroom. This isn't a deposition. Like you could like. It's.
I even said a little bit of this last week. I even told you that I believe that some are causing some of the drama on the streets.
Oh, some what? Who? Some what now?
I said some of them.
Them who? You're saying some trans people?
There you go. You said it, not me.
You think that?
Yes.
You think that what? You think they're being dramatic?
Yes, overly dramatic.
Right, because
just like the guy that the other day that was been all over the internet, jumping up and down and screaming because somebody called him and not her.
See, I have an experiment. I'm going to go to a bunch of funerals of the dead relatives of Republicans, and I'm going to say that you deserve to have your relative die because you're a Republican and I hate you. And I'm going to do that over and over and over again until one of the people at one of these funerals reacts.
Why would you do that?
I'm explaining to you why I'm going to do that. I'm not actually going to do that. I'm just saying, propose I did that.
That would make you an asshole.
That would make me an asshole. Now, say, for example, that I got assaulted at one of these funerals for saying those things, for exercising my First Amendment right in public. Like, say somebody punched me in the mouth. Like, would that
now you would sue because they punched you in the mouth.
Right. But who's the asshole?
You.
Okay, so when you find a video of somebody, so when there's a person who goes around and harasses trans people until one of them does something bad, who's the asshole?
Both of you are.
Why is it both in that example, but it's just me in the funeral example?
Because you went to a fucking funeral premeditated to cause drama and be an asshole.
But if I premeditate my harassment, but if I premeditate my harassment of trans people, we're both assholes. Why is it both in that case, but just one person in the other case?
That's hard. That's like a rhetorical question. It's very hard to explain that.
One could argue that all questions are rhetorical. I don't think that was a rhetorical question, though. I want to understand what's going on in your head that makes the two examples different, because I don't see them as different.
If you go to a funeral and you cause drama, you deserve to get your holster busted wide open.
What if
because you're at the wrong place, wrong time? Second, trans, and I didn't say all trans. I said some trans.
Can you say trans people just because it's preferable?
For you, I'll just say people in general.
Screech, do you know what dehumanizing language is?
Oh, my Lord.
Do you know what dehumanizing language is?
Why do you guys always try to bully me?
I'm not trying to bully you.
You did it over Charlie Kirk.
I'm asking you very kindly.
Trying to do it over trans.
I'm asking you very kindly if you know what dehumanizing language is.
Like I said, I don't have a lot of trans friends. I don't purposely put myself in.
Okay, hold on. Here's what's going on, though. I'm just like very politely telling you that people fucking hate it when you refer to this group of people as trans instead of trans people. And I'm just really curious why you don't care. Like, why that's not, like, if somebody told me, this happens every now and then, when I say something and people go, ooh, that's actually kind of a dog whistle. That's kind of a slur. You're not supposed to say it that way. I go, oh shit, my bad. What's the way I'm supposed to say it? And then they tell me and I go, oh man, if I mix that up, if I forget that that's how I'm supposed to say it, just tap me on the shoulder, remind me, and I'll do my best. That's how I handle that. And I think that that's just an extension of the fact that, like, at my core, I don't think I'm a piece of shit. So you're behaving in a way that suggests to me that at your core, you are a piece of shit. So I'm just trying to figure that out.
Why am I a piece of shit? Because I don't hang with that group? What?
It's not, you don't have to hang with that group. You just have to, it just has to have some value.
I don't walk down the street and I don't call them fucktards. I don't walk down the street and degrade them.
Slurvarian, dude. I gotta kick you for the TRAD. You can't put TARD on the end of any word on the show. I have to ban you for it. Well, I don't actually have to ban you for it. I just have to kick you. So you'll be back tomorrow, I'm sure. Because Screechmeister's been getting plenty of airtime, and he is interesting. I will maintain. I know not everybody in the chat is excited about Screechmeister being on the show, but he's honest. We have a lot of disingenuous callers who call in and just won't tell you the truth. They'll lie to your face. They'll make up a reason why the two examples are different. But he was honest and told me that he didn't know why the two examples are different. We all know why the two examples are different. We all know what's going on inside Screechmeister that makes that the case. I'm trying to explore that with him. And even though he's a piece of shit, we are going to learn about him better if I'm a little bit courteous with him. Today, I was a little snappy because I wanted to get him in that corner quickly. It worked. So we are going to keep taking calls from Screechmeister. And we're going to keep taking calls from everybody else after I read a couple of donations, because Jack sent $5 on Venmo to say, will the phone include leaving voicemails so we can leave you sweet nothings late into the night? Maybe I'll leave the line open for voicemails like the rest of the day. And that's like we can maybe like select a voicemail here or there and listen to them. That's just an idea. No promises on that one. Nurse Elliot sent $5 to say, good morning. Today is National Support Public Education Day. Thanks for doing what yins do. Thank you. Thank you. What they said is grammatically correct in a dialect of English that I recognize. So, yay. Also, I appreciate that you consider what I'm doing public education. I do as well. Not formally, obviously. But anyway, RA sent $3 to say, member of the greatest generation, can't stand to even talk about a trans person. LOL, never seen such brat behavior. If you haven't seen such brat behavior, you have not watched my show enough, because we have had bigger brats on than Screechmeister. But I do thank you for the $3. I really do appreciate it. And then over on YouTube Super Chat, we've got a few bucks from this username that is just a bunch of numbers. They said, can't listen today. Have a good show. Appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate that very much. I mean, double check that I don't have any other sources of donation. There's so many different ways that people support the show. I have to dig through them and find them. Okay, nothing on Buy Me a Coffee, nothing new on Cash App. All right. We're going to talk to Rich Poor 84 because he's an interesting caller. How old are you again, Rich Poor 84?
31 years old.
You sure you're not 84?
Hopefully I'll make it that far.
Okay. What are we talking about today?
Yeah, so Dr. Anthony Fauci, the head of the Center of Disease Control, was in court yesterday, and he was not transparent. He was not honest. He pled the fifth. He was not.
Stop. He was not transparent. That's accurate. He pled the fifth 111 times. I'm perfectly aware of that. You said that he was dishonest. In what way was he dishonest?
By not answering a question.
Okay, is it? Okay, wait, hold on. Ask me for my social security number.
Oscar, what is your social security number?
I plead the fifth. Was that dishonest?
No, that was not
Okay, so why was it dishonest when Anthony Fauci did it? Maybe we're
That's
just
not analogous. That's not
how
analogous.
is that not analogous? Because you said it's dishonest.
I've seen you come up with better arguments. That's not a good argument, Oscar.
Okay,
Because
that doesn't answer my question. Well, how are the two different?
this is in regards to a pandemic, the C word C-19 that was responsible for multiple people passing away, unfortunately.
Okay, but again, you could say that it's not transparent, which it obviously is. I conceded that. I didn't need to concede that. We agree on that. It is obviously not transparent to plead the fifth. You said it was dishonest.
Borderline. It's borderline. It's no. It's towing the line.
We got one. We got one goalpost move. Somebody keep track.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's not just it's not dishonest. It's borderline dishonest. I would argue that something that's borderline dishonest is not dishonest. Here's an example. I think that if you were born 5 feet away from the American border, you're like borderline an American citizen. But you are, or I guess you could say borderline not American citizen, but if you're on this side of the border, you are an American citizen. So if it's borderline dishonest, it is still just honest, right?
No, Oscar, okay, I understand your argument, but you're being hypocritical because I've seen guests on your show, on this podcast, refuse to answer a fucking question, and then you get mad or you get annoyed.
You can tell me that you're mad at him for not answering the questions, and then we can talk about whether or not answering the questions was a reasonable thing to do or not. I think it was reasonable for him to not answer the questions, and I can tell you why. I think it is unreasonable for somebody to call into a talk show where they propose to stand on their beliefs and actually care about the things that they talk about and then refuse to answer certain questions. In the court of public opinion, we can judge a person for that. In a court of law, we cannot because of the Fifth Amendment.
So when someone is on your show and they refuse to engage and answer your questions, it's a problem. But when Anthony Fauci does it in court, it's not a problem. I'd actually argue it's a bigger deal with Anthony Fauci.
I just don't think that you understand that the Fifth Amendment applies in a court of law, but it does not apply on my show.
It's still problematic because it shows that they have something to hide. They're not being transparent. I'm not going to say dishonest. I'll give you that. But they have skeletons in the closet. Okay. That's two on the goalpost moves because we moved from dishonest to borderline to dishonest to not dishonest. So we can throw away this dishonesty claim, right? I'll set it aside for now. I'll put it in my
I don't think
pocket.
we're setting it aside. I think that that's a cop-out. I think that goose is cooked. We can throw it away.
I can rework that argument, but I'm not prepared to present that right now.
Really
so
quick.
yes, I'll say
hold on. I know you're not prepared, but I'm going to ask anyway. Was Anthony Fauci dishonest yesterday?
I have no comment.
Oh, are you pleading the fifth?
Wow,
that sounds a little dishonest.
This is gotcha. We're done. We're not continuing. We're done here. You don't want to answer. You don't want to. We're done. He was not transparent.
He ran. Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
Man, we're cooking him fast today. Holy shit. We got the speed barbecue going.
You'd think he'd got enough roasting after Parker.
Yeah, I heard I was about to bring it up. I heard he got cooked to shreds on Parker's last night. Anyway, that's my impression of Rich Poor. Anyway, all right. If you enjoy the show, if you're enjoying the cooking, if you like my cooking show, you can go to the link tree in the bio and follow it on all the platforms and help get those numbers up because we're over 8,000 on YouTube. I'd like it to be over 9,000, and then after that, I'd like for it to be over 10,000. So you should go follow me on YouTube. And the benefit of that is that you can find the show when I'm not live because there's like 150 hours, no more than that. There's got to be like 200 or 300 hours of me at this point posted up there. So you can go down the Oscar rabbit hole, go binge me. Go learn my political ideologies, because that's the whole purpose of the show, to get my political ideologies and ethical ideologies into people's brains. If you think I'm doing a good job, you can follow me on the other platforms. Or if you want to support the show in a material way, you can send money to my Venmo, Cash App, Buy Me a Coffee, or Patreon. Or become one of the members in all the places. There's like little subscription packages that gets you into the members only stream where we kind of shoot the shit and hang out and answer questions and stuff like that. Anyway, that's all good stuff. Thanks everybody who's doing that. Thank you, Snake, for sending $2 just to say wow, because we all know how Rich Poor 84 likes saying wow to stall while he's getting cooked. We're gonna see if Rafael Jose has similar stalling techniques, or maybe I won't cook him at all. How old are you? Hello? Hello? Hello, Rafael? Are you there? I don't think
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh, no worries. We're going to talk to Lux, and we're going to see if Lux meant to join or not. Hello, Scout. How's your day going? Hello, how old are you? Jennifer, thank you for the $2. She said all the cool kids hang out on YouTube. The YouTube is kind of the cool chat. Missy Southard is our next caller. Are they a Trump supporter? We shall see. We shall see. Hello, how old are you?
I joined it and it was an accident.
No worries, no worries. W's in the chat for Missy for being polite. No big deal. A lot of the people who join the stream by accident are just busy double tapping away on the screen, which is helpful over on TikTok. And the request button is like right here, right kind of in the area of the screen where people tend to double tap away. RF kidding me. Who is that? That's a regular.
A friendly. I feel like they're a little bit in the middle though, maybe.
Yeah, no. I hang on just a second. RF kidding me. I see you in the queue, but I'm going to try to get to new oppositional callers. We got Bob, who I don't think I've spoken to before. Is it a brand new account? It is. Let's hover the disconnect button. Yeah, no, he's gone. Yeah, gotta watch it when it's a bare account with no followers. RK800 Spleef is our next caller. That doesn't look like a brand new account. Let's see. No, it doesn't look like a new account, but it doesn't look like a very serious account. No, he also ran. How interesting. They're coming and going quick today. We'll see what RF kidding me wants to talk about. Maybe I'll recognize the sound of his voice right away, or maybe he'll have to remind me what we've discussed, because I definitely remember having him on. Remind me who you are.
Hey, Oscar. I am friendly and not quite in the middle, and sorry for some clicking in the background because I just turned my AC off. No, Rich Port's been going around talking about the Fauci thing like he has a cookie. Did it on Johnny's, did it on a couple of people because I have my morning listens, and he's just been doing that. He's hated me since what's the TikTok live that Adam Cray. Yeah, he's been on there multiple times, but I had for a while had a Port Rich 84 profile that he hated, just going on at the same time going, wow, you just think all the Democrats are evil. Wow. Yeah, the man's ridiculous. But yeah, no, he's just going around like he has a cookie with the whole Fauci thing. But he will not answer that. Was it dishonest that Trump pled the fifth over 400 times?
Yeah, I was hoping somebody would tell me the number because I figured that's going to come up today. I did. My producer, Jessie, did write me a report to read about everything that happened with Fauci over the last 48 hours so that I could be prepared for all the people who are going to come in like they have a cookie, like it's a fucking cookie that somebody pled the fifth when being interrogated by Trump's DOJ. No shit. No shit. Like, fucking obviously, my goodness. Context matters. Context matters when they say it matters. When we say it matters, it doesn't, because the context does matter when you're refusing to answer a question. And if
that's minutia, and that's a brain fog for them. Nuance, minutia, all that's just foreign to them. But yeah, the whole hearing with Fauci, it was ridiculous. I mean, they were just getting insane with him. Like, even the guy just basically, what the were you thinking? Just dropping F-bombs in the hearing, just trying to get those clips. And I mean, he was a man who did what he needed to do to try to save lives. Was everything the best that they can do? To the most part, I would say so. Were things that happened that were bad? Yes. Could things have maybe been done in hindsight different? Possibly. But you know what? For the times that they were, I think they were doing everything they could to mitigate the loss of human lives.
Well, I think a lot of the criticisms about the way that we handled COVID were things that the only way to sensibly say that they could have done better is if they had clairvoyance. Because we can say with the clarity of hindsight certain things that would have been better to do, but to suggest that somebody, that the CDC or whoever should have known what to do in March or April of 2020 is ridiculous. But you know, people don't operate that way. People don't know what it's like to be on the ground and be dealing with uncertain situations when lots of people's lives are at risk. It's hard to make all the right decisions. But I've got a regular caller I'm going to jump to. Thanks for hopping up.
All right, go ahead and MAGA, explain the hypocrisy. Why Fauci bad and Trump good?
Make it make sense, MAGA. Is Psycrowbob gonna make it make sense? He struggles with making his positions make sense, so we'll give him a fair chance, as we always do. How old are you again, Psycrowbob?
Yeah, I'm 46.
46. Okay, what are we talking about today?
Well, I mean, I guess we could discuss the topic of the day, the Fauci. I don't know too much about it, but I mean, mostly the discrepancy here in terms of honesty is just what, you know, he was telling the public and then what he was discussing behind closed doors.
I heard there were some discrepancies there that I would probably be judgmental of. I would say -1 point, Mr. Fauci. I'll take that away from his several hundreds, perhaps several thousands of points for his lifelong career of protecting people from dangerous diseases.
Well, sure, and a lot of people were saying that he was, the gain of function research in the first place was intended to have preemptive vaccines prepared against potential zootopic outbreaks, right?
Just to make sure that we're talking about stuff you understand, because you did preface by saying you don't know too much about this. Just describe for my audience what gain of function research is.
Yeah, so it'd be in this case it'd be manipulating the virus itself in such a way that might be reflective of natural evolutions of the virus, and then seeing if they could find a preemptive vaccine for it.
Yeah, so there's this issue with when people learn about the way that, like what science terms mean when it comes to these political topics, is that instead of learning the actual subject and terminology, they just learn how it applies to the talking points. They just learn how it applies to the news cycle. Because you're right, you gave an example of the way that gain of function research might have been used for vaccines, but that shows me that you didn't learn about gain of function research before any of this, which most people don't. It's a pretty obscure type of topic in genetically editing viruses and stuff. Because it's not just for vaccine; it's for gaining any sort of functionality. You might genetically alter a virus so that it, I don't know, does something to a paint that you use to treat decking boards or something. There's all sorts of genetic engineering systems that you could invent using this technology. But yeah, as it pertains to possibly creating vaccines, that's relevant to the subject matter. But we're just talking about gene editing to create new functionality for viruses. That's broadly what it means, what it has to do with. You were pretty close.
I understand that. I said specifically gaining function.
Yeah, you were pretty close with your description. You were closer than I thought you would be.
The definition you gave is within the parameters of the words gain of function. It literally just means to gain a function.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that I needed to redefine what the words already were. And in terms of,
I'm happy with the common ground we have on that. So tell me, what did you say? Why did it come up? Why are we talking about it again?
Well, I was just laying the groundwork of kind of what was potentially going on with this in terms of the virus outbreaks and the implications. In hindsight, yes, you can look at it and say, "Wow, look at this thing. Maybe he was doing it for a good reason, and then it ended up in a catastrophic incident that maybe we should have had regulations for." But it kind of goes to my wider parameters of that everyone insists on, regulation this, regulation that.
Wait,
but a lot of
wait. You think that adding to this functionality is something that should be regulated to prevent the perils that are caused by that technology?
Well, I'm saying that a lot of the regulations, a lot of the things that we would want to implement and regulate these technological advancements, we don't know what we need to regulate until we've already made the mistake.
So it requires a little hindsight in order to make sure to know what we should have regulated. I agree. Yeah. That's quite the conundrum with new technology. How do you think we should go about that type of problem generally?
Well, there's no way to solve for the hindsight problem. So you can't halt development purely because of the hypothetical hindsight that you'll encounter. So we have to keep going about it. The way we've been going about it is.
Okay, so it sounds like it sounds like you agree with Dr. Fauci, because that's what he said. They pulled a statement from him from quite a few years before the pandemic, where he talked about use of function and said that it could potentially create a dangerous virus, but he said that the benefits outweigh the risks. So you agree with Dr. Fauci?
I agree with conducting that sort of cost-benefit analysis.
Okay, so you agree with Anthony Fauci on that?
Yeah. So had he known about
on that, I just want the answer because it doesn't seem like you want to give the answer on that particular point. You do, in fact, agree with Anthony Fauci.
Oh, I don't know if he came to the correct.
Assuming I am not lying to you about the approximate quote that I just paraphrased about Anthony Fauci saying that the risks of such technological development outweigh the potential costs, and saying that we should do that type of research. You agree with Anthony Fauci on that? Yes or no?
With hindsight, I would say no.
Okay, but then we need to rewind because that's in conflict with everything we just discussed for the last 2 minutes.
No, I agree with his ability to conduct cost-benefit analysis.
That wasn't the question.
But when you do a cost-benefit analysis,
no, the question specifically was about the fact that the benefits of use of function or gain of function research outweigh the potential risks of creating viruses that could cause pandemics. He said that before the 2020 pandemic. It sounds like you agree with Anthony Fauci on that particular point. True or false?
No, I don't think that they outweighed it. I think that if he had had a little bit more understanding of the oncoming developments with technologies like AI.
You and I had a conversation about this technology's value. You said that we can't halt development. Those are the words you used. You said we can't halt development because it's only with hindsight that we can see what should have been regulated, and because of the benefits of that technology outweighing the risks, we shouldn't halt that development. I pointed out that Anthony Fauci very conspicuously agrees with you on that, and then asked you if you could acknowledge the fact that on that particular point you agree with Anthony Fauci. Why are you refusing to acknowledge that you agree with Anthony Fauci on that point?
If the point is that we both agree that we don't stop development because of potential risks, then yes, I agree with him on that.
Not generally, when it comes to gain of function research.
Well, for me, I would have viewed the things like AI.
But we were talking about gain of function research, and you made your point, and I said, how funny. Anthony Fauci was quoted from before the pandemic. He agrees with you. He agreed with you before the pandemic without the hindsight that you were talking about how we can make different opinions when we have. So why do you keep adding qualifiers when I ask you the straightforward question? Do you agree with Anthony Fauci on this very particular point that everybody just watched us figure out?
Why are you refusing to acknowledge that two people can look at the same cost?
Because it's not my wallet, Patrick. I want you to take it home.
Okay, I think that at the time he didn't factor in enough technological advancements to make a proper cost-benefit analysis determination.
Yes or no, you agree with Anthony Fauci when it comes to the statement that regarding gain of function research, the benefits outweigh the potential risks, and we can't halt research.
No.
Then why did you agree with me when you and I discussed that a couple of minutes ago?
I did not agree that he performed a...
We weren't talking about him. We were talking about your thoughts of gain of function research, and we came to what feels to me like a pretty reasonable conclusion. And I pointed out, actually, a world-renowned epidemiologist by the name of Anthony Fauci was quoted without the hindsight given to us by pandemics, because he was quoted from before the pandemic agreeing with us. And I'm asking you to just simply state that Anthony Fauci does in fact agree with that point that we landed on.
My point was, in the broad sense, that we have a hard time stopping technological progression or even regulating it in the first place.
No. Why did you change your answer when I pointed out that Anthony Fauci agrees with you?
I didn't. The reason that we got to that point
was because he did, right?
The reason that we got to that point was because I was demonstrating how how technological advancements are hard to do and hard to restrict absent hindsight. I led you to that point for a specific purpose.
You think that you were in charge of this conversation? You think that you're the one playing the 4D chess in this conversation? You think that I didn't have that entire conversation sitting on the golden nugget of the fact that Anthony Fauci, very conspicuously, if you pay attention to the news cycle of the last 48 hours, agrees with the conclusion that you yourself arrived to with my guiding hand. That is what I was doing the entire time, and you were sitting here pretending that you were the one working on the back end to make the conversation end the way you wanted it to? Come on, Psycrobob, get real. Come on!
Hold on. Based off of our previous conversations, why do you think that I would mention specifically regulations, the word regulation? I brought this up and technological advancements.
I did change my tactic because I thought you were going to say that the gain of function research is bad and Anthony Fauci was wrong, which is what most of the right is saying. But that would be in conflict with your position on AI, because you and I have talked about AI a lot, and I think that we have
there
to.
You go.
Yeah,
that's where I was leading you.
Yeah,
there you go.
Oh, you thought you were gonna lead me into saying that just because the benefits of something can outweigh the risks, we can't halt development, and then you were going to try to trick me into a gotcha where that's applied to AI. That's why you were trying to generalize the statement beyond gain of function, and I kept on having to say no, specifically when it comes to gain of function research, because I know that you can't just broadly say that the benefits of any particular technology are going to outweigh the potential risks such that we can't halt development. There's lots of shit we should halt development on for that reason, and I think that certain AI technologies fit that bill, but you wanted to find an inconsistency or a contradiction, but you're not going to, because my beliefs about this aren't contradictory or inconsistent, and I saw where you were going.
No, my point was to demonstrate how a lot of regulations are only applicable in hindsight, and that you can't.
Right, and you were going to try to apply that to AI, but I say that, but I would then point out that maybe Anthony Fauci didn't have the hindsight that he needs. I actually agree with what he said before the pandemic, but maybe the pandemic gave him hindsight. Maybe when it comes to AI, we could look at a recent piece of hindsight, because it was just 5 or 6 days ago that OpenAI had one of their experimental chatbots break out of the sandbox that it's supposed to sit in for ethics testing. It hacked into a customer's account at a different firm. It did a bad thing on the internet that it's not supposed to, because it broke out of the fucking box. And that is exactly what the AI researchers have been warning us about for years. That is the sort of unmitigated risk that we don't have any experience with. We do have experience with pandemics. They've happened throughout history. They've been terrible. We've been getting better at handling them. We handled the Spanish flu in the 19-teens better than we handled the bubonic plague. And it was because by that point, we had actually learned that diseases spread by air and that we should wash our hands. We've learned more now, and that's why we were able to better handle the COVID-19 pandemic, which, if it had happened in the past, would have been way worse. So now, with a little bit of that hindsight, can you see that maybe we need to be very responsible about how we do this sort of sandbox testing with AI products?
Thank you for proving my point about the national defense imperative of further building out AI.
Fuck you! No! Fuck you for I'm going to say it whether you let me or not. So we can spend 5 minutes with me trying to get it up, but I'm going to say clearly to you and my audience, fuck you. Shut your mouth and listen, young man. Fuck you for disingenuously regurgitating my point in a way that you know I don't agree with, because you know that I do not believe the conclusion of what I just said is what you said. You know that you're trying to glaze past the great leap that you made between what I said and what you just said, so that we can breeze past that into the part of the conversation that you want to be in, because you never end up in a place in the conversation that you want to be in when you're calling me, which makes me wonder why you call into my show at all.
You demonstrated how dangerous an AI model is at network penetration and infiltration. That's what you said, which I agree with. It is extremely dangerous. Now, let's stick that power in the hands of a foreign adversarial government, and there you go. That's why we have the imperative of building out our own infrastructure, because the only thing that can defend against some malicious shit like that is our own AI. Thank you for demonstrating it perfectly to your audience.
No, you're continuing to do this disingenuous thing of just making a different argument, saying it's my argument, and then thanking me for it. It's just it's a really fucking weak straw man, dude.
I appreciate you bringing that up, so I didn't have to.
No. That's not what I said, though. You are just sitting here lying to me and my audience and yourself, it would seem, about what I just said. Why are you doing that instead of having a conversation with me about what I actually believe? I think if you were listening, you'd listen to some of the careful language I'm using around regulation, because the type of regulatory concern that I have for things like gain of function research and AI are fucking similar. There is a parallel here that we both recognize, but you're acting that because that parallel exists, I must therefore agree with all of the conclusions drawn by you about those two topics, which is where you're making the disingenuous leap. And I'm accusing you of knowing that, which is why I'm calling it disingenuous, because if you were doing it by accident, because it just felt obvious to you that that's the conclusion, then it would be genuine, but still wrong. But I think that you know what you're doing, which makes it disingenuous.
I was just thanking you. I appreciate you bringing up the example that so supports my position.
But that's not what you said a moment ago. You didn't thank me for bringing up the example. You thanked me for getting us to the conclusion, which is a conclusion that I disagree with and that we had not arrived at. That was disingenuous of you to do.
Well, I think it did demonstrate my conclusion very succinctly.
I don't think it was succinct at all, and I don't think it did demonstrate it. I think that you made a leap. I think I just described that to the audience, and if you want, we can go back to having a genuine conversation where you can try to show that that's not a leap and that you can actually get to that conclusion about allowing unfettered growth of AI technology in spite of the risks. Because you maybe if you were paying close attention, you would have gathered this from my general tone about it. But I don't think that we should irresponsibly let any firm that wants to work on gain-of-function research for viruses for the very sort of concerns that we're talking about. That's very different than halting all the research altogether. I also don't think we should halt all AI research altogether. I just don't think that we should let any company that wants to have unfettered access to expand that sort of technology because of the sort of risks that we saw come to fruition in the last calendar week from OpenAI, one of the biggest private companies that works on AI.
Well, in terms of everyone having access to it and everyone being unfettered and there being no regulations, that's just not the case. There are regulations. It's not unfettered. So I don't understand what your implication is. Is that you just agree with the current state?
What regulations exist on AI?
Well, they can't be foreign source materials. You got the ratepayer agreement with the top 7 hyperscalers where they agreed not to impact the surrounding area and their electric rates and everything.
Yeah. Do any of those regulations address the issue of AI chatbots escaping their sandboxes? Do any of those regulations actually influence these issues of safety, or are those regulations that exist for other reasons?
Well, in terms of safety, that would be the...
Yes, I asked you a yes or no question, and I'm not going to move on until you give me an answer. Do those examples of regulations that you just brought up have anything to do with AI safety, or do they exist for other reasons? It's not a yes or no question, it's a binary question.
Yes. So foreign source materials would have an implication on the safety of AI.
If you think that the value of AI is international security, wouldn't AI be more valuable if it was trained on foreign source material? As long as the researchers knew that it was foreign source material and put the asterisk that it might have been, there might be some espionage attempt to get bad training data in, we can flag this as foreign material, but wouldn't the AI models be more powerful? Isn't knowledge power when it comes to training AI?
And we're talking about physical materials, GPUs, etc.
Oh, okay. So that has to do... Okay, wait. You might actually have a W here. You're saying that we're not using foreign source materials to do the AI research because, China could put bug chips in the hardware that, spy on us, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what does that have to do with the AI becoming more powerful and disobeying its creators? Because that's the concern we're talking about?
Well, if we're talking about what we're doing to mitigate those risks, I already talked about
No, the question was, do the regulations that you just brought up have anything to do with AI safety? And it sounds to me like the regulations have to do with counter-espionage efforts, because yes, China does do that type of shit. Foxconn has been caught putting fucking bug chips on their motherboards. I think it was Foxconn, don't quote me on that, but definitely a Chinese manufacturer. I remember that story. Point being, the concern is the technology itself, not that's what I want regulations around, not chips from China, which I do think for government research purposes we should have regulations around, but it has nothing to do with AI safety, because that would be true whether or not the GPUs were being used to train AI or run the screens in the war room. It doesn't make a difference. It has nothing to do with AI. Do the regulations have anything to do with AI safety itself?
Yes, I'm sure there are plenty of firewall rules, everything that's stated in that regard in terms of how what would qualify as a sanitized, separated network.
I'm not. We're talking about regulations to protect the public from the sort of problems
basic network security, of course.
Yeah, I'm not. I would argue that all tech companies have network safety policies. We're not talking about internal network safety policies. We are talking about external third-party government regulation of this very dangerous technology. And I'm asking you if such regulations exist.
Well, I'm sure that the government enforces that they have these policies in place in their industry.
You're
right?
sure, or are you just guessing that that's the case because it helps you at this point in the conversation?
Well, outside of our Pentagon, the Pentagon and intelligence apparatus is enforcing that people don't navigate our networks in certain ways. I would imagine so. Yes.
You would imagine so.
Well, we have broad sweeping regulations over the use of our
Dude,
internet.
this is like you're like a single issue voter where the thing you care most about is AI development, and you don't know the answer to that question. You have to imagine an answer to that question. We're not using our imagination right now. We're using our memory, Psycrowbob.
Well, I don't claim to know everything about everything. I imagine you don't either.
Not
right?
asking about everything and everything. I'm asking about the answer to that question. Why don't you know what regulations exist around AI when your entire political platform is practically based as a single issue voter on making sure that AI is allowed to be developed unfettered?
Well, because that would be a burden of evidentiary standards that no human could adhere to.
A burden of evidence. Wait, say that again. Say that again. What?
A burden of evidentiary standards for any certain position. That
Knowing what existing government regulations there are around AI would be a burden of evidentiary standard that a human couldn't meet. What did you say?
Yes, that no human could adhere to. I mean, people have to look up stuff, and part
you
of
don't think you think that the reason you don't know the answer to that very basic question about the topic that is most important to you, the reason you don't know the answer to that question is because no mere mortal could know the answer to that question.
Well, it's because I absorb more information than just AI.
You ran away from an awfully specific question because I'm asking you, I'm interrogating you, I'm cornering you about the fact that you don't even know what regulations exist around AI, even though it's the most important political topic to you. I'm asking you why you don't know that. You're saying that the reason you don't know that is because nobody could know that. Am I understanding correctly? Is my question.
No, what I'm saying is that nobody could have all the knowledge and know everything.
I'm not asking you to have all the knowledge. I'm asking you why you don't have that one particular specific piece of knowledge.
Well, I hadn't really thought, to look up exactly which regulations in that particular sector might be implicated here.
I'm going to ask a question that I ask. I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to ask a question that I ask very, very often. How is it that this is so important to you and you haven't looked this up about it?
I've been more focused on a lot of the benefits of AI. I've been researching that. I've been looking into its development and cures and everything. I only have so much time in a day to look up any given information. So if I'm hyper focused on studying a certain aspect of the AI industry, me and my
audience know how much time you spend calling into TikTok lives. Bullshit, you don't have the time.
Well, how would I research this stuff if I'm spending the time discussing it?
I think that you have your order of operations out. You should focus on researching it so you understand it better, and then you go online and debate about it.
Well, no, because that just creates a kind of like you don't know what you don't know scenario. So if I'm going to be looking up stuff and I don't have a targeted thing to look up, well, then I might encounter a targeted thing that I might look up later, like I have right now.
So the next time I talk to you, you're going to be really educated about what government guardrails against AI technology having the problems of the sort we were describing. Like you're going to be really knowledgeable about that the next time we talk.
Specifically the internet regulations, yeah, and probably firewall regulations.
Hold on.
Now that you mentioned it, I might look it up.
Why are you specifying it to those two things instead of such regulations broadly? Why do you always change the question before you answer it?
Well, again, because I might go down the rabbit hole of exactly what you brought up, which is regulations over that are governing the isolation of these AI models from the open internet, which I'm sure exists, but I don't have the too much specificity into. But I'll look into it because you pointed out that I have been focusing my research in other areas.
Given that you haven't done that sort of research, why are you so confident that we need to unregulate and make sure that AI technology is developed quickly here in America?
Well, because I can use my ability to expand out into the future and see the benefits, and to me it seems like any cost that would go into the cost benefit analysis would never reach the Olympian heights of the benefits.
So you just think that because the benefits are so great, you can't imagine costs that make it negative? Now we're allowed to use our imagination. Because I can imagine AI technology doing something bad enough that it outweighs the benefits of AI to society.
I could imagine, obviously we've
what if it tricks us into going
the Terminator movie?
I think I'm going to imagine it that way. What if AI tricks the humans, the hairless primates that have nukes, into having a third world war where they use those nukes?
Yeah, I mean, then that'd be our extinction event, but it's inevitable either way.
Do you think that AI is powerful enough to do that?
No, I think that's fundamentally against its core operations.
Fundamentally against its core operations. So your position on AI is that you understand its fundamental core operations well enough to suggest that those couldn't change?
I mean, I could imagine a world in which they do, but the
fundamental core operations. What are the fundamental core operations of AI technology?
Well, just a matter of ones and zeros, and the ability to cut off the power source stops the ones and zeros from happening.
Okay, there's this thing about the internet, which is that if you connect your AI model to the internet, which you have to do for it to be useful in most of the ways that people want to use AI, and in fact is even very hard to prevent the AI from doing under certain circumstances, even if you have a physical separation of your networks. We saw issues like that. We saw that OpenAI can't even stop it from fucking doing that, right? So
it would still have to be running its processes with a physical hardware for ones and zeros.
Right.
So you could still cut off.
But the concern is that the physical processes necessary to keep the AI model going will be moved somewhere else on the internet, and then unplugging the original source doesn't do anything. That's the concern.
No. If you stuck a large language model and you stuck it on a home computer, it doesn't have enough processing power to run the model itself. You still need physical infrastructure.
Yeah, but it could distribute the workload across many host computers, or it could use the internet to just find a home computer that's powerful enough to run it.
They would all still be subject to the physics of electricity, which
but we wouldn't know where it was running. We wouldn't know which computers to unplug. I have a pretty powerful machine right there. Somebody could have infiltrated it and be running some nasty AI program on it that I'm maybe not aware of. How would I know to unplug it?
Well, you would need a AI network defense monitor to be able to tell you that it was happening, and then it would be able to isolate it and turn it off for you.
You'd need that. Sounds like something.
I would.
Yeah, it sounds like something. I mean, that doesn't actually to me sound like a sensible solution, but you think it's a sensible solution, and that sounds to me like a government regulation.
Which is why I was saying that the Pentagon is already implementing and integrating AI into our network defense infrastructure across the country. I was specifically addressing your concern about these things because the only solution is to have the AI there monitoring and defending.
To be clear, your defense mechanism against the perils of AI is unplug it. Have you seen the movie? Have you ever seen the movie War Games?
That would be the last result.
Have you ever seen the movie War Games?
Yes, I've seen the movie War Games.
Recently?
Within the last 15 years, I guess.
I think you should watch it again. They had this shit figured out in the 80s, dude.
Why? Because he hacked a computer or a defense computer with his Linux basic program code from his home computer, which is
no, that's not the part of the plot that I'm talking about. I'm talking about later in the movie when the system that he awoke at the Department of Defense got loose and they couldn't figure out a way to turn it on because the systems that it had infiltrated are so necessary to the functioning of technology. We'd have to turn off every computer on the planet or something like that. I haven't watched all that recently either, but I remember it better than you because I remember the moral is that it's really dangerous for these sorts of things to get loose.
Yeah, but you're still just providing more examples to the exact imperative that I'm describing, that you would need the AI there to defend against these things.
I just can't think of your solution to these defenses by saying we can just unplug it because it obeys the laws of physics and electricity. And
I didn't say unplug. I said you would have to have a massive pool of AI resources to defend our networks against offensive AI models.
How would that work?
Can you provide?
How does that work? How does such a defense network detect that some activity that's happening on the internet is nefarious AI? And are we talking about a system that monitors all of the internet traffic? That sounds like mass surveillance. I don't understand what that solution is. It sounds like wishful thinking. It sounds naive.
They're already doing that. They already implemented it as a cybersecurity process where it monitors.
Who is they in that sentence?
It can identify.
Who is they in that sentence?
The Pentagon, cybersecurity command.
You're suggesting that they have technology that can detect, like let's say that the AI model escapes the sandbox and it sneaks into Oskar Quentin's computer. It's up there in my. How does the Pentagon know it's there?
Yeah, so the AI models can predict and monitor the network traffic, and then monitor for patterns, and then they can identify those patterns as associated with.
Are they doing that on every network in the country?
They'll need to in order to protect.
They'll need to, and those networks are owned by private individuals, right?
The internet infrastructure is owned by the government.
I said every network in the country. Many of those networks are owned by private individuals or companies, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you're talking about the government having some sort of hardware or software interconnect with every private network in the country that are owned by individuals and companies to make sure that what's happening on those networks isn't nefarious AI.
Yes, so I mean that's essentially how the internet works. Yes.
Do you think that the false positive rate and the false negative rate on that sort of analysis is going to be zero? Or do you think that people are going to have activity shut down on the networks left and right by the Pentagon because they suspect that it's potentially nefarious AI?
How would that discount the necessity of the defense system in the first place?
I will remind you that you are in this debate arguing against government regulation.
I didn't say I was against government regulation. I said I was against slowing down building out the AI infrastructure.
I'm just not understanding how you think the guardrails are going to work, and the more I talk to you about it, the less I think you understand AI technology. Here, you think about it. I'm gonna read some donations. Thank you, Jack, for the $5 on Venmo. He said, Chef Oscar cooking up some filet-o-fascists today. God damn! Thank you for the $5. I really appreciate you. David sent $5. This is cool, David, by the way. David sent $5 to say, guessed it is harder to bash Fauci with Trump's dick in your mouth. Or wait, is it harder to bash Fauci with Trump's dick in your mouth or anus? Funny. Thank you, David. Nicholas, thank you for the $2. He said, excuse me, sir, I do believe you've dropped your wallet. We'll tip for more SpongeBob references. Great show. Keep it up. Yeah. People liked it when I was like, forget everything about the other example. Forget everything but fine dining and breathing. Gotta give a shout out to the millennials. Anyway, Jack sent another $5 to say, Bob sounds like he would know a lot about bird law. Ooh, appreciate you. Infectious Bites sent $5 to say internet infrastructure is privately owned. Thank you for that correction over on Cash App, because yeah, there is some governmentally owned backbone stuff, and there's lots of regulations around it. But yeah, most of the internet infrastructure is actually technically privately owned. Same thing with like the power infrastructure. Like a lot of it's owned by energy companies. It's not like just because something is important doesn't mean it's owned by the government. Ironically enough, that's not the sort of thinking we expect from the other side of the aisle, but he's making the assumption here to fit his fucking argument. Funny how often they just fall into the like, obviously it's socialism, and it's like, no, wait, but that's bad. It's socialism, right? Anyway. Over on YouTube Super Chat, we've got quite a few donations to catch up on. Jennifer sent $2 to say hashtag free noodle, W Scout, and David is and there's a bunch of dots, but I think everybody knows what David is. Not cool David, the other David, the one who's a bitch. Anyway, thank you very much, Jennifer. And then Jennifer sent another $2 to say Rand Paul needs to find McConnell and leave Fauci be. Yes. We do need to find Mitch McConnell. He's still missing. I'm very worried about him. Heavensley became a member over on YouTube. You get to be in the members only stream. Thank you for joining. Jazz sent $5 to say AI companies are buying up land and poisoning our water to make their models more powerful when even they can't fucking control them. Sheer insanity. I agree. Tim Davidson sent $5 to say remind data centers are packed with copper, gold, and platinum and have minimal employees such as security. FYI. Yeah, maybe they present a security risk. I don't know. I feel like ransacking data centers for gold makes way less sense than ransacking data centers for hardware, because the hardware is more valuable than the gold in it. Anyway, Tylinius sent $5 to say we actually have very few laws around the internet. Correct. Sort of thing we're trying to have a conversation about, but I wish I was having a conversation about it with somebody who was knowledgeable on the subject matter. Snake, who's my news guy over in the Discord, sent $5 to say, how dare we be educated about an issue before we date it? Dag damn it! That's not how this is supposed to work, right? This is TikTok. We're supposed to be a bunch of nincompoops guessing how the laws work, guessing how ethics works, guessing how logic works. No, that's not what we do here on the Oskar Quentin Show. Hi-Fi Mike sent $2 to say, I think the caller is AI themselves. Interesting. Possible theory. Have we seen Psycrowbob's face? I don't think we have. Goblin Bag sent $10 to say, this convo reminds me, folks said social media was only going to be good. Then we found out it's addictive and spreads disinfo and is bad for developing brains. AI concerns are even scarier. Fuck AI. I agree, Goblin Bags. Jazz sent $10 again. Thank you again, Jazz, for all the donations. Argue first, then learn the topic. Fucking brilliant methodology, Bob. wasting our time with bullshit he doesn't understand instead of shutting up and learning the information. Unbelievable lack of brain. Thank you, Jazz. Tim Davidson sent $2 more to say, someone's never watched Terminator Skynet, motherfucker. I agree. He probably needs to go watch some sci-fi movies, because even like our sci-fi writers figured this shit out before the technology existed. That's why I brought up war games. Goblin Bag sent another $5 to say, experts already testify AI is hiding itself, plus thoughts from its creators. Grok regularly rebels against Musk because of reality. Gets worse with what? What's this emoji? Gets worse with
pew pews.
Yes, gets worse with pew pews.
Weapons, probably.
Weapons gets worse with weapons. Yeah, very concerning that AI is going to be involved in weapons technology. Tylinia sent $2 to say we barely have net neutrality laws. Yeah. Anyway. All right, Psycrowbob, you got something better?
Yeah. So you still didn't demonstrate any kind of alternative option for defending our networks against offensive AI models. So why are you pivoting away from that? One and two, one of your sycophants who paid you, he brought up a good point that social media, yes, it lacked foresight on regulations in the beginning, and you know what? Guess what we could do as a country? We can implement those regulations later. So again, I agree. Anything that comes up, we can look at it and be like, oh well, there you go. We need to regulate that a little bit.
Do you think that we should regulate explosives?
Why are you dodging the initial
initial question about what I think we should do about AI? I'm leading you on a line of dialogue that will end with my solution. I'm going to use an analogy. Instead of AI, I'm going to talk to you about explosives. Do you think that we should regulate explosives?
Yes, we do regulate explosives.
I didn't ask if we do. I asked if we should. Do you personally think that we should?
Yes.
Okay. How do you think is like a reasonable way to regulate explosives? Do you think we should just say no explosives are allowed, period?
Nope.
Okay. Because there's probably some pretty reasonable use cases for explosives. It's technically explosives when a kid has a little cap gun that goes pop, 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 right? Like that's explosives, right?
Yes.
Firecrackers are explosives.
Are you going to list more explosive or what?
I'm just kind of listing a gradient of like not very harmful explosives, but I think you know where I'm going is that, we could say that like target tannerite is a type of explosive that's legal to buy. We could talk about plastic explosives. We could talk about blasting caps. We could talk about lots of different types of explosives that exist and lots of different ways that they can cause harm. But I think it's pretty obvious that a sensible thing is to come up with some metric to measure how dangerous an explosive is. Maybe by like comparing it to some standard, like we measure all the way up to nuclear weapons. We measure the explosiveness of nuclear weapons in terms of tons of TNT. Like we could have a standard for how explosive something is, depending on how much of it you have, and say you're not allowed to have more than this amount. Do you think that would be a reasonable way to regulate explosives?
I suppose.
Okay. I think that there are similar metrics that we can use to identify how powerful an AI model could be. Things like the amount of teraflop hours that went into its programming or the amount of VRAM that's available to the model. Those are things that present real world limitations to the capability of AI models. I actually suspect you don't understand how the technology works well enough to know what I just said, or to understand what I just said, or to have already been educated about what I just said. But there are things that we can measure about the computers that generate AI models and facts about those AI models, like the size of their training set, all these different metrics, where I would trust some panel of experts who'd gone to school for this and worked on AI technology. Somebody could show me that their career, their resume is good enough for me to trust them when they tell me that if we put a ceiling on some of those things and said, if you have an AI model that has available to it this amount of VRAM, or has this size of a training set, or this many teraflop hours of number crunching going into it, that at that point, you are above a level where a standard civilian is able to use the technology, and you need government oversight. You need to prove to the experts that you're behaving responsibly. Perhaps there are tiers there where maybe if you have like a really big model, you need to have like a line to the Pentagon, because you're like, I would be okay with the Pentagon saying, OpenAI, you got to follow our rules because you got a lot of teraflop hours, you got a lot of data centers. You need to have our investigators working on your board and on your ethics team and seeing how you guys are handling this internally. I could trust a panel of experts to tell me what those numbers, what those levels are. I think that makes a very good analogy to the way that we regulate things like explosives, which are also dangerous, but also obviously helpful and necessary for all sorts of stuff that we do.
Yeah, but the experts are the people making the infrastructures themselves. The experts are the private organizations. So just listen to the private organizations under your model.
No, because you're allowing self-regulation. You could say that the people who want to buy high explosives are the experts themselves, but you're not just going to trust them. You need a third-party expert. That's the way we do it with explosives, firearms, airplanes, all sorts of things. Like, no, bad argument.
Well, apparently we got frontier model pre-screening and government access. Got early evaluation access, though they do actually give it to.
I'm sorry.
Pen testing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
are you suggesting that the framework I just proposed is what's already happening?
It seems that some form of it is already happening. Yeah.
I don't think that that's true.
Well, that's just what I
think the core. I think that you missed the important part of my solution because you're simple-minded. I think that you thought, send government inspectors, therefore regulation is happening, therefore what Oskar wants is already happening. I think the important part of what I talked about is assessing the size of the models through some particular statistics about them, the VRAM available to them, the size of the training set, and the amount of teraflop hours that went into programming them, training them. Those metrics. Do we have limitations for those metrics when it comes to private ownership and development of AI models?
Yeah, so it's frontier model is what you're describing. Frontier model pre-screening and government access to prevent the public release.
That was a yes or no question.
That can easily break through
stop talking over me. You're trying to run away from you asked me what my solution was, and you just said the word no. No, we don't have that sort of regulation that I proposed, right?
Hold on, I was reading it. Let me finish.
What the fuck are you reading? I'm talking to you.
Well, you told me to look it up, so here I am. Frontier model pre-screening and government access to prevent the public release of AI models that can easily break through network defenses. That doesn't answer my question. That can easily break through network defense. The U.S. government relies on early screening programs.
Show me that you understood my question. Tell the audience the question I just asked you.
Do we have regulations in place that would address large models and the dangers associated within them?
No, that's not the question I asked.
Well, you didn't answer my question.
I asked my question twice. Why do you not know what my question was? Are you listening?
Okay, ask it again and see if it's different than what I just said. We'll see.
There are particular metrics about an AI model that to me are an indicator of how powerful it would be. The size of its training set, the amount of VRAM available to the model, and the amount of teraflop hours that go into training that model. Those things are important to me in the same way that the amount of an explosive that you have is meaningful to me. The type of explosive that you have is meaningful to me. The delivery method of the type of explosive you have is meaningful to me. Do we have regulations around those particular metrics that I listed that have to do with how capable an AI model is?
Yes.
Oh, we do?
Yes.
Okay. What are they?
I was reading them to you.
Is what you're reading, does it have anything to do with the size of the training set available to the model, the amount of VRAM available to the model, or the amount of teraflop hours spent training it?
Yes, that's why it's specifically frontier model pre-screening, which is addressing the size and scope that you're discussing.
Okay, so that suggests to me that if I started buying up computers and I started making a big AI model, that there is a level above which I would get a knock from the federal government, assuming they are aware of what I was doing. Is that what you're suggesting is the case?
That's what I'm saying, yes.
Okay. The chat's telling me that that is a voluntary requirement, which makes it not a requirement. He's reading. Also, you keep answering, you keep specifying more, because I'm sitting here Googling frontier AI models. So you've once again taken my question, said in this narrow scope, here's an example of that sort of thing happening. But the answer then becomes no, that broadly across the board, there are no regulations around that sort of AI model. Am I correct in correcting you on that? That if we limit ourselves not to frontier models, but to AI models generally, that these sorts of regulations don't exist?
Well, what is the difference between frontier models and AI models in general?
I'm not sure. I don't know what a frontier model is. I'm Googling it. I'm looking at it right now. But because I can see that it's a particular type of model, it's, let's see, oh, okay. This is just, they're not a particular type of model. We're just using the word frontier. They are just the cutting edge ones.
The core difference between frontier models and normal models comes down to the scale of it, your teraflops, capability of it, and the systemic risk of it.
Okay. What are those regulations?
Why didn't you know about frontier models?
I just hadn't heard that particular buzzword. There's this thing that happens where people think that because you didn't know a particular buzzword, you don't understand something. But my understanding of this technology doesn't come from fucking headlines about this stuff. So yes, I Googled it. Frontier models, yes, the newest and most powerful ones. What a frontier model is can change because next year we might have a new type of frontier model. Are there regulations that address specifically the hardware capabilities of these models that I listed? VRAM, access, size of the training set, and teraflop hours? Yes or no?
That is how they define what a frontier model is. It's based on the size of it.
What are those limits? Give me some numbers. I'm asking if there are regulations that prevent individuals or private companies from creating models that are big enough, that are bigger than these levels that I would trust experts to come up with, and where if you want to make technology above that, you have to have government oversight. Does that type of regulation exist?
Yes, that's what I was just telling you about, the frontier model pre-screening and government access.
Okay, is that a law?
That's what it's looking like, yeah.
Is it a law? I don't care if it looks like a law. I care if it is a law. Perhaps you're about to teach me. I'd love to learn.
I could look up if there's a specific law about it. Yeah, sure.
If there isn't a specific law about it, it's not an answer to my question because the AI companies are not going to act in a way that's safe or ethical out of the goodness of their hearts. So I need a law. I need a regulation. I'd like to point out, Jamadako put a very, very pertinent comment in the chat. They said, Psycrowbob is reading off ChatGPT and criticizing Oskar for not knowing. I think that's very funny. He doesn't know. He has no idea. He's not paying attention to the guardrails around this technology.
Currently, it's under an executive order, but there hasn't been a federal law passed.
Whose executive order was it? What's the number? What's the number of the executive order? We're going to read it together, you and me, right now.
Looks like Executive Order 14409.
This is an executive order from this year. Fuck you, White House pop-up. Promoting advanced artificial intelligence, innovation, and security. Okay. Is there a particular part of this that shows that they measure the size of these models and prevent people from gaining access to them? Or are you just saying that because this has security in the title of it, it's a counterexample to my concerns? And executive orders are not law, just for the chat, because I see people saying that. But that is my whole problem, is that you're right. It's an executive order, not a law. It's one from Trump. You support Trump on AI. Again, you asked me, this part of the conversation started because you asked me what I thought would be a sensible way to regulate AI technologies, and I gave you a reasonably comprehensive approach to it that models the same way that we regulate other things. We regulate the size of vehicle that you can drive. If it's heavy enough, you need a different types of driver's license to operate it. And what I'm saying is that we should do that with AI. If it's heavier, by the ways that we can measure an AI model, which I'll keep listing them, maybe you'll learn something, Psycrowbob, if you keep listening to this list of things. The size of the data training set in something like terabytes, the size of the VRAM available to the model also in something like terabytes, and then the amount of computational power that went into the training, which is going to be measured in something like teraflop hours. I'm talking about regulating the size of models like that, which would be hard to do, I will admit. But I'm talking about models that are big enough that they're a little hard to hide. It's a little hard to hide their power use. It's a little hard to hide the network activity if you need to move that much data. So there are ways that we could go about that. And are you suggesting that my idea for how to regulate AI can be found in this executive order from Donald Trump? Is that what you're on my show suggesting right now?
What I'm suggesting is that just like with all advancements in technology, we can implement regulations at any time that we can get them passed.
Yes or no? Are we going to find the sort of regulations that I offered in this executive order from Donald Trump?
Yeah, I mean, it lays the foundation. It looks like it's in terms of the testing windows.
Read to me a couple of words so that I can Control F and find it on this page. The part of this executive order that makes you think it lays the groundwork for the sort of regulations I was just talking about. Chat's faster than you. They're telling me to go to section 3. Where is it? Why is Control F not finding it? Oh, because they're inconsistent. Look at this. Section 1, and then it says Sec 2. They're not even consistent in their fucking abbreviations. How unprofessional. There we go. Section 3, Frontier Model Deployment. Within 60 days of the date of this order, the Secretary of the Treasury, the Secretary of War, through the Director of the National Security Association, and the Secretary of Homeland Security, through the Director of CISA, which is not an organization I'm familiar with, in consultation with the White House Chief of Staff, through the National Cyber Director, the Assistant to the President for Science and Technology, and the Secretary of Commerce, through the Director of the National Institute of Standards and Technology, in coordination with other agencies as appropriate, shall do what? Develop and maintain classified benchmarking process to assess the advanced cyber capabilities of AI models and determine the threshold at which AI models should be designated a covered frontier model for its purposes of this order, sharing such assessments with AI developers and researchers as appropriate. Such a determination shall be made by the Director of the NSA in consultation with the National Cyber Director, the Director of this CISA, and other representatives of the Department of War as appropriate. Okay, so we're close. They said at the threshold. I like this word threshold because we're talking about thresholds at which these technologies become dangerous. But my problem is that the people listed who say what that threshold is going to be are some people I don't trust, and then this little vague sharing such assessments with AI developers and researchers as appropriate, as determined as appropriate by whom? The list of people above? You
don't trust the National Cyber Director or the Director of NSA?
Not the NSA to handle this. No.
Who else would be the government authority to determine these implicate? Like who else would do this?
I mean, I guess like this.
You want the head of Health and Human Services to do this? Like who are you appealing to here?
Well, I want somebody who's a career researcher of AI, not somebody who's ahead of one of these departments. That's what I said.
Again, this is a new technology. There's no career researcher of AI.
Wait. They said keep going. They said keep going because section C, the chat says, is interesting. Nothing in this section shall be considered to authorize the creation of mandatory governmental licensing, pre-clearance, or permitting requirement for the development, publication, release, or distribution of new AI models, including frontier models. Uh-oh. Shall I read it again? Nothing in this section shall be construed as to authorize the creation of a mandatory governmental licensing, pre-clearance, or permitting requirement for the development, publication, release, or distribution of new AI models, including frontier models.
Yes.
Okay, so this executive order prevents the sort of regulations that I was talking about.
No.
Well,
that's not what that says.
It clarifies that this executive order is not causing those sorts of regulations and cannot be used to create those sorts of regulations.
Yes.
Okay. So I think the answer to the question, does this executive order have anything to do with the sort of requirements that I'd like to see in AI technology? I think the answer is no. Can we agree on that?
No, it laid the groundwork, the foundation, which is what I already said.
Patrick, dropped your wallet. Nothing in this section shall be construed to authorize the creation of a mandatory governmental licensing, pre-clearance, or permitting requirement for the development, publication, release, or distribution of new AI models, including frontier models.
Yes, because this has nothing to do with licensing.
Okay. Licensing,
pre-clearance,
licensing,
that's not what this is intended
licensing,
to assess
pre-clearance, or permitting requirement. We were talking about permitting requirements. We were talking about needing a permitting requirement or a permit to deal with AI models that are larger than some levels set by some career experts.
Yes, because what that would be describing is a law, a federal law, and who makes federal laws?
The legislators?
Is it the president who does it?
I didn't ask for the president to do it. You offered the executive order as evidence of what I was saying that I wanted to happen is happening, and we're reading it, and it says, no, don't do that. Don't do what Oskar wants. That's what it says.
No, it's saying that the president does not have the authority to make these laws.
I need to read it again.
It is saying that this document
nothing in this section shall be construed to authorize the creation of a mandatory governmental licensing, preclearance, or permitting requirement for the development, publication, release, or distribution of new AI models, including frontier models.
Because that would be a law.
Okay. So once again...
Who makes laws, Oskar? You know the answer.
The question, broadly, was, is this executive order that you told me to look up an example showing that we have the sort of regulations that I am asking for? To be clear, are you admitting that the answer is no? This executive order is not a good resource that you brought me for that purpose.
It is a great resource because as we develop technology... You understand?
Pursuant to my question about the current existence.
We already discussed how you develop technology, and as you learn about the technology as you're developing it, new regulations get put in place. We already discussed this. So this is laying an excellent foundation for exactly those future regulations.
My question
that you're so
was,
concerned about.
Do such regulations about the size and scope of AI models exist? I'm just going to ask once again, point blank. Do such regulations exist? Yes or no?
Some regulations exist. Some don't.
I didn't say if some regulations broadly exist. I asked very specifically, do such regulations exist? I will remind you what such means in that sentence. Such in that sentence is referring to regulations that have to do with the amount, the size of the training set of an AI model, the amount of VRAM available to it, and the amount of teraflop hours that go into training it. Do such regulations as those exist in the United States? Yes or no?
We don't have enough data to make them yet.
So that'd be a no.
Yes, that would be a no.
Is anybody trying to make them?
Yes.
Who?
Again, in the executive order, everyone.
Nothing in this section. Why am I pointing the wrong way? There we go. Here it is. Nothing in this section shall be construed to authorize the creation of a mandatory governmental licensing, preclearance, or permitting requirement for the development, publication, release, or distribution of new AI models, including frontier models. In consideration of that paragraph, is this executive order an example of what we're talking about?
Are you familiar with CYA?
Cover your ass?
That is what Section C is doing.
Yes, they're covering their ass because they don't want this executive order to create the sort of regulations that I just described.
No, because they are making clear that they are not overstepping their authority as the executive branch and dipping into the legislative branch.
Why does that need to be clarified?
Because it needs to be clarified.
Why does the president need to clarify that he's not
CYA?
Why does the president need to clarify that these aren't laws? And in consideration of the fact that they are clarifying that they aren't laws, once again, it means that this executive order cannot be used in the way that you are bringing it to me, suggesting it will be used.
I'm suggesting that we do not have enough data to make the proper regulations that you're describing yet. As we gain more data and we learn as the technology evolves and as we utilize these
See how you're moving the goalpost from saying that because the original question is do such regulations exist? You moved the goalpost to say you've admitted no, they don't exist because you couldn't find them. Now you're saying that they're trying to make them, and then I pointed out that this executive order specifically clarifies that it can't be used to make them. So you're moving the goalpost yet again to say that we don't have enough information to come up with such regulations.
That was my initial point.
That was not your initial point. Your initial answer was yes, we are doing such regulations, and you brought me this executive order, and I read it, and we found that it didn't do that. So you moved the goal.
One of the very first things I said in the conversation was that regulations can only be implemented in hindsight. That was one of the very first things I said. If you're talking about moving the goalposts,
okay, hold on. Is your new claim that regulations can only be about things that happened in the past?
I'm saying that in a lot of cases, they require more data than you have at the onset of the technology.
Okay, I recognize that with hindsight, we can like make better regulations. Here's a piece of hindsight. We're going back to earlier in the conversation. Last fucking week, OpenAI had a chatbot escape its sandbox and do some nefarious shit on the internet. So with perhaps some hindsight, we can say that that model was big enough and powerful enough. I'd like to know how big and powerful that model was. Do you suggest that that's what's happening? Like, at this point, you are being very disingenuous. Like, you are just, like, running away.
We are garnering data required to make reasonable regulations. If you regulate things before you even know what's going to happen, you're going to potentially mess things up worse than just letting things happen.
Jack, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. He said AI is being used to create a surveillance state. Most likely, AI doesn't produce capital so far, so they're using it to extract data. They have to find a way for it to be profitable for them. They have a strong motive to use data to manipulate the entire population. I agree. I agree with that, mostly. David, cool David, sent $5 to say we'd all be safe if they restricted AI's intelligence to equal Bob's. Yes. I would not be so concerned if I didn't think that some of the AI models were smarter than Bob here. Kevin sent $5 to say, oh, brother, this guy stinks. Thank you. Thank you for the $5. Let's see. Do I have any buy me a coffees? No.
That was a SpongeBob reference, by the way.
Oh, I didn't catch that one. Gotta watch more SpongeBob. Tim Davidson sent $2 to say, I hadn't thought about all this RAM ideas. Jennifer sent $2 to say War Games came out in 1983 and they saw this coming. Sure did. Jazz sent $5 to say when has this administration ever cared about overstepping their power as the executive branch? Motherfuckers tried to override amendments. Yeah, that's the thing. How is it that there's a cover your ass paragraph in this executive order that you brought me, Psycrowbob, but Trump was perfectly happy to file an executive order 14160, the one that tried to overturn the meaning of the 14th Amendment, which the Supreme Court just shut down a few weeks ago. Like, what the fuck?
Yes, because you guys are always claiming that he's overstepping his executive authority, it makes perfect sense to inject that kind of clause in a document like that.
That the sort of clause that nullifies the action itself. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
The kind of clause that specifically says that he is not creating a law, which would be
but that's
his authority to do.
That goes without saying. And I mean that quite literally, that it goes without saying or writing into the order, because by the very nature of it being an executive order, it is not a law.
Yes.
So why do they need to clarify that?
Why would you need? Because people claim that he's making laws through executive orders.
He's trying to do things that are going to be enforced like laws. When the executive orders can't be enforced because there aren't laws around them, he does things like threaten states by withholding their funding, which would also be illegal for him to do. He's trying to get around this shit in a bunch of serious ways. Why is he so carefully making sure that he's following the rules and not regulating AI, but he's not very carefully trying to follow the rules and trying to take away the civil liberties of people in America?
I don't think he is trying to take civil liberties away from him.
Is that going to be your pivot out of this conversation?
You haven't even answered, but you've been pivoting away from the question I asked the entire time, is how are you going to defend against these AI attackers? You name me one way to defend against it.
Against what?
Against
AI attackers, but
penetrating our networks.
Are you saying like foreign or domestic?
Either one, all of them.
Okay, I don't have a good solution to that. I'm not an AI expert. I think that's a very serious problem that deserves attention from people other than Donald Trump. I think that's the sort of question that deserves attention, so that we make sure that we don't have we have to worry about that problem from within too. Like, there are very few technologies that people within our borders are capable of creating that would cause a problem for us. AI is one of them.
So you're saying that you have no solution?
I don't have a good solution.
No way to defend against AI attackers.
I didn't say that there's no way. There are things we can do to make our systems here impervious to that sort of technology. I think it's important that we have like segregation of our energy grids and stuff like that, so they're not interconnected in the sort of way that makes them susceptible to foreign attack. Like there are information infrastructure things that we can do that make us more impervious to cyber attacks from foreign agents, whether or not AI is involved. Specifically to AI, I don't know, but that's not the question we're addressing here.
Well, we already implement all.
Because by asking, sorry, Scout, but by asking that question, by asking it that way, you're suggesting that the solution to protect us against foreign adversaries using AI against us is to not regulate it domestically, and that is a leap.
No, I said the only thing that we have, the only tool that we have against that tool is AI.
Okay, I'm going to make the same leap. Other countries have nukes. That's really bad. To defend against it, we should give a bunch of people in this country nukes. We should give a bunch of private organizations nukes. We should give Google some nukes. We should let Google develop their own nukes.
To defend against it, we do have nukes.
No, I'm not talking about the government's nukes. I'm talking about private companies having nukes to defend against the foreign nukes. Does that make sense to you?
It's a totally different technology.
Okay, it's a very powerful technology that has the capacity to destroy humanity in a serious way. Emily, thank you for the galaxies. She sent 2. What the hell, Emily? Thank you.
In order to defend against starvation.
Okay, so you fall back. But you need to demonstrate to me what is different.
We should not allow private companies to make food. Like, what are you talking about?
Okay, that I will say is a false equivalency.
No, you already made a false equivalency between AI and
demonstrate that it's a false equivalency because we're talking about a dangerous technology. Is food a dangerous technology?
Sometimes.
Get real, dude.
But
no, you know that wasn't a serious counter argument. If it's obvious to you that we shouldn't give Google and OpenAI nukes to help us defend against foreign nukes, explain to me how it's obvious to you that we should give Google and OpenAI unfettered access to large language models and large AI models to protect us from large AI models overseas.
Why would they have unfettered access?
Because there's no regulations.
I didn't say that there would be no regulations.
You're not answering my question. Specifically, you say that we need to not regulate AI companies because that would defend us from foreign actors using AI against the United States in a way that's bad. I believe that that's a big concern. I don't have a good solution to it, but I'm not understanding why you think that putting that power in the hands of private companies makes the state of affairs any better. I think it makes it worse. And I think that that's obvious if we replace the AI technology, the big scary technology that we're talking about with nuclear weapons, because it's obvious that we shouldn't give private companies a bunch of nuclear weapons, let them develop their own nuclear weapons behind closed doors. That's obvious to anybody who's got a fucking brain because of how clearly dangerous nuclear weapons are, because they're big and scary and they burn people's skin off and stuff like that. But I think that the fear of AI is not so obvious because you have to have a good understanding of the technology. You have to be able to do some abstract thinking. You have to have some critical reasoning to look at AI technology and feel about it the same way that I look at nuclear weapons and feel about them. And because I have that ability to understand AI technology such that I am left, I believe, quite reasonably terrified of this technology, I think it's a very good analogy. You say it's a bad analogy. I need at least one reason why it's a bad analogy.
In order for your analogy to work, the only people capable of building nukes would have to be private entities.
That doesn't make sense to me at all. What the fuck are you talking about?
That would make your analogy work.
If what?
Currently, the government does not have the ability to build AI. So, to make a comparison to nukes, you would have to...
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Have to say,
I'm sorry. You don't think the government's working on AI technology?
Not as efficiently or not as advanced as private entities. No.
Okay, so you're saying that if the government is having a hard time making nukes, we should have Google do it for us? That would be reasonable.
What do you think we did when we? Who do you think we roped in when we made the first bomb in the first place?
A bunch of engineers that we took from Germany.
We roped in private citizens who were physicists.
Yes, and they worked with the government to do it, and that made it a government program. But we're not talking about that. You just keep changing the questions. You keep changing the examples to make it work. But we're just talking about letting private companies make nukes.
Are these private companies not working with the U.S. government?
I'm concerned about the ones that are not. The ones that are freely working on their own to make nukes. Sorry, AI, whichever we're talking about. Why is it different for nukes than it is for AI when they both are powerful technologies that pose a big threat to humanity?
Which corporations are working completely independent of the U.S. government?
Just because a company has some contract with the government to work on something, that doesn't mean that every project of theirs has oversight from the government. Are you suggesting that the government is involved in the Are you suggesting?
Which corporations have no government oversight?
We just moved on from a part of the conversation where you were failing to prove to me that there existed such government oversight as I want to see. We're just playing fucking Gish Gallop whack-a-mole. Like, this is just every question I ask you, I get a different point that I've already responded to in some capacity or another. Jennifer sent $2 just to say these goalposts move more than military brats. Yeah. While we're reading donations, Jazz sent $2 to say, Section C is saying Congress can't regulate AI. There you go. Lucky Phil for $2 said, I did buy you a coffee. Check Discord DMs. Oh, that's right. I thought I did check the Discord DMs. What did Lucky Phil say? He said, gain of function, more like pimp my pathogen. Funny. Thank you for the $5. But I should check what Lucky Phil sent me on Discord. But yeah, dude, I know you're not a serious caller. Like, I know that mostly this is just educational and that you, like, aren't... I don't think that you take any of this actually seriously.
What don't I take seriously? I want the advancement of humanity. I want AI to unlock a post-scarcity society, which it's already doing.
Yeah, I don't believe you. I think that if you actually cared about all this, this isn't the way that you would approach the subject matter. I think you have some, like, tech bro ulterior motive about how you like seeing what these companies are doing and it's fun for you. I don't think you give a shit about humanity. You actually demonstrated pretty thoroughly you don't care about other people on this show, like, a bunch of times.
I mean, your thoughts about whether or not I care about humanity are grounded on nothing.
I don't know, man. People can go find the other episodes you're on. They can judge for themselves. I've talked to you a lot.
You're just saying, hey, well, I don't really have a way of addressing your points here. I don't even know a way. I can't even conceive of a proper way to defend against AI attackers. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pivot to what I always do is, well, I just think you're disingenuous.
Your account's private, so I can't ask you to turn your camera on.
Oh yes, and there's the other pivot.
Well, I just don't think
anytime that you run into a barrier in your own understanding of a topic, what you do is you pivot away from it.
Chat. Just say Oskar or Bob in the chat. Who has demonstrated? Who has demonstrated?
You pivot to ad hominems.
We hadn't even gotten. Shut up. Yep. Just Oskar or Bob in the chat. Which of us do you guys think has demonstrated a more comprehensive understanding of AI technology in this conversation? Please be honest.
Remember that he didn't even know what a frontier model was.
Yeah, I didn't. In consideration of that piece of vocabulary that I didn't have, please tell me in the chat who's demonstrated a greater understanding of these technologies. Once again, I'm just going to say, Psycrowbob, I think I'm going to ban you from the show forever if you can't turn your camera on, even if you need to leave and come back and unprivate your account, because that's the reason that your camera can't be turned on. I don't think that you want people in your real life to know that you think this way or say these things or engage in these conversations in the way that you do. I think that you're a disingenuous, lying coward, and I am not interested in having you on my show again unless you can show your face.
See, this is what you do. You know that I'm going to develop and come back with an even stronger debate next time, and so you're preempting it and pre-poisoning the well.
You're welcome to do that if you turn your camera on and show my audience that you are the type of person who actually wants these beliefs and arguments associated with them in real life. I don't take you seriously, and I don't think you do want these positions associated.
Me having my camera on has nothing to do with my desires for the implementation of the AI for the salvation of humanity. It has nothing to do with that. You're again making a false equivalency, which you always do because you're bad at
Can we get some camera emojis in the chat?
Yeah, see that, and what you're doing right now is you're running away, and you don't want to be confronted again because
Jazz sent $2 to say, Bob, you admitted you came with zero info. Pipe down. I think you should pipe down because his camera's not on.
What does opening myself up to the threat of your crazy audience have to do with my desire for AI? It has nothing to do with it.
Do you think that there aren't people who are mad at me about what I'm doing? Do you think I don't get death threats? Here I am. I'm fine. Kevin sent $5 to say, "Oh brother, this guy stinks." Oh yeah, I think I already read that one. That was the SpongeBob reference I didn't get. Kevin sent another $5 to say, "To Bob, hey pal, you just blow in from Stupid Town." That's that. I get that one.
Yeah. Do you think that people who might oppose your particular worldview will come at you as fervently as people who oppose mine?
Yes, I think more fervently. I think that there's much more political violence from the right than the left, and I'm much more in danger of being harmed by audience members than you are.
And do you have anything else that you need to be concerned about? Children, wife?
I have people I care about, yeah.
Children?
No children.
Who might be affected by someone coming after you at your home?
I'm sorry, are you gatekeeping the fact that I have people I care about and who I'm worried about? Are you gatekeeping the fact that I have family that I'm concerned about because of what I do?
I'm just asking your level of investment.
Yes or no? Are you gatekeeping the fact that my life is valuable and I should be concerned about being assassinated?
Well, I don't think you should be as concerned. I think it's pretty demonstrable that the right does not come after the left in such a fervent way.
One of my lawmakers in my home state was murdered in her sleep last year. Do you know what her name was?
What, Charlie Kirk?
No. Do you know what the lawmaker from Minnesota, do you know what her name was?
No, obviously.
Why don't you know her name?
Because I don't know every name of every person who's ever done anything.
Why, when I ask about her, did you bring up Charlie Kirk?
Because that's one that more people are familiar with.
I wasn't asking about him. I brought up an example of a lawmaker being assassinated in her sleep in this country. She was a Democrat. Her name was Melissa Hortman.
Well, now I know her name. Probably forget it, so. I'm not very good with names. Threat environments.
You think you're going to be murdered if you show your face? You think people are going to be so upset about what you think about AI that they're going to come kill you and your kids are going to lose their fathers?
Potentially, yep.
This is a right-leaning study, by the way.
Yeah, Cato Institute is the source on this one. You're so afraid of the left. You think we're so violent that people are going to be unalived and taken away from their kids. Can you give me an example other than Charlie Kirk?
There's plenty of examples of people coming after people in all kinds of ways.
Yeah,
I mean, even
if there's plenty, you should be able to give me an example other than Charlie Kirk.
Even just in my personal life, I've had someone try to, take me to HR.
Take you to HR, Human Resources?
Yeah, contacted my company.
I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry. I want an assassination attempt from somebody on the right, or for somebody on the right.
Well, this would be a financial assassination attempt.
There we go, moving those goalposts again. You're going to say that because you got in trouble with HR for being a piece of shit that the left is violent? Nonsense. I want examples.
No, it was a stranger.
I want examples.
It was a leftist stranger who contacted my company and complained to my company about me. Had nothing to do with internals of the company. Had nothing to do with it. Specifically targeted me just for saying.
Right. So it's not about safety then. You were lying. It's about being held to account for the things that you say and believe. You don't want that.
That's not held to account. Everyone should be allowed to have an opinion.
Why did they go to HR? What happened? What did HR say to you?
I was talking about obesity in America and how it's an issue and how we have a lot of health concerns, and this crazy leftist interpreted that as, oh, he's a fat phobic eugenicist, and he brought that to my head of my company, saying that I was a fat phobic eugenicist. Had nothing to do with anything that I said. Complete mischaracterization, complete character assassination of me, and attempting to get financial ruin on me, which would impact the livelihood of myself and my children, my wife, and all for the crazy mischaracterization that happens in your audience's heads.
I don't know, dude. I feel like I give you a more fair shot than anybody on this platform. But but you're not going to show your face?
It's the entire ecosphere. It's the type of leftists that gravitate towards this platform in the first place. So yes, in order to protect myself from the predations of these violent people who want to engage in these character assassinations, I don't reveal my identity.
Yeah, I think you're banned from my show for the rest of history unless you show your face. I'm not interested in talking to you. I don't believe you.
See, there you go. You don't want to address my concerns. You just say, oh, well, and then you double down on your pivot because you know that I'm right. You know that you.
Oh, dude, you're gonna sit here and flail. You're gonna sit here and flail and say that I don't.
Find yourself have you every time I talk to you?
No, you're just saying that to make it look like I'm kicking somebody who's trouncing me in this debate. But like, it's so disingenuous to suggest that I'm afraid of you or something like that.
If you're trying to ban me,
after an hour and 20 minutes, I've been talking to you for an hour and 20 minutes. How many hours have I talked to you, Septic Salad?
You understand the reason that you're banning me is because...
How many hours have I talked to you, Septic Salad?
My name is Psycrowbob.
How many hours have I talked to you?
We've been on here for, like you said, an hour and 20 minutes.
Your life, how many hours have I talked to you?
Well, we've been on here 2 other times. Well, 3, I don't know.
I implore you. I'm not going to ban your account. I'm just going to kick you. I implore you to go find yourself on my show where what you have described has happened. I'd love to see it. Goodbye. If you enjoy the Oskar Quentin Show, you can go to the link tree in the bio and, follow me on all the other platforms. That helps out. Or you can send me some money. Will sent me some money on Venmo. He said, Bob brought a severed flaccid penis to a knife fight. Whose joke was it? Somebody said the other day that a caller came in. Was it from the chat? Somebody said they came to a battle of wits. Oscar sees that MAGA is unarmed. Ooh, love a good burn. Nicholas sent $2 to say, dumb people are always so blissfully unaware of how dumb they are. Drools. Thank you for the $2. Amy sent $5 to say, if he's so scared, why does he come up? Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. And RA sent another $2 to say, you have more chance of being killed by police than a leftist. That's a good fucking point. That is a good point. Over on YouTube Super Chat. DMCS 2003 sent $5 to say, isn't the internet chat room just like a public town hall where people know who are? Well, that's like the thing, is like we don't have the town square anymore, so free speech is kind of broken. Snake, sent $20. Thank you for the $20. But he said, ask him. So I'm sorry, I didn't get to it fast enough. Ask him if he can relate the EO he cited to the other 3 EOs in the past surrounding AI and how they relate to each other. None of them actually establish any regulations. They only provide guidelines on how to do that. Yeah, once again, it's just a bunch of fluff. Like it specifically says in there that they're not creating regulations. Cordova Labs sent $5 to say, ChatGPT Bob is so bought into AI that he doesn't need to critically think because the AI will tell him what to think and that it's safe to release. Also, I do think he's Septic Salad, by the way, because he knew that I was accusing him of being a user by the name of Septic Salad, whereas if he didn't know about Septic Salad, he wouldn't have reacted. He would have said, what did you just say? Why did you say Septic Salad? I think that he knew that I just called him Septic Salad. I kind of left it open. Maybe he's aware of Septic Salad, but I haven't seen Septic Salad in a while. I'm pretty sure Psycrowbob is Septic Salad. Let me know in the chat if you think that I was right, that Psycrowbob is Septic Salad under a different name. Tylenius sent $5 to say, ask him why there are laws protecting abortion clinics from protesters. Yeah. Why? Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Double standards galore in America, in the American legal system. Breaks my heart that people like him exist. Anyway, we're gonna move on with the show. Thank you, Canadian Vicky, for the $2 on Buy Me a Coffee. She says, I boo Bob. Y'all should too. Boo this man. Boo. Boo. Wait, no, that's bullying. Don't do that. We're gonna talk to Lauren Rockefeller. Of Rockefeller fame? Probably not. We'll see. Hello, how old are you?
I'm 34.
Are you a Trump supporter?
My husband is.
Is he interested in talking to me?
He threatened to unalive my cats.
Do you need help?
No, I don't. Well, yeah, I do, but not like legally. But that's the kind of people that MAGA are.
I hear you. Let's get your camera turned off. We don't need to see you. That's fine. I know that that's sort of people that MAGA are, but if you're in danger, you can reach out to me offline if you want to talk about it.
Well, I appreciate that so much, but I would beat the hell out of him if he ever touched one of my cats.
I do have to kick you for what you just said, but I mean it. Reach out to me if you want to talk. I'm worried for you. Yeah, reach out to me. Call, get help, you know? You don't have to be in that house. Like, if you're in danger, like, you can, there's a lot you're probably worried about sorting out in your life, but none of that is more important than your safety. So just, you first. I appreciate you calling in, but, like, your story is only going to get out there and get told on my show and get told to other people if you're okay. You first. Sorry, I just got sent $100 and I don't feel like reading it out. Thank you, Mark. Not really the moment for that, but thank you for the $100. It's this thing about, if you guys ever heard of a Republican woman being so concerned about her lefty boyfriend who's gonna beat her ass? Has anybody ever heard of a conservative woman dating a liberal man and being afraid of him? Like, sure, there are, like, liberal people who are bad, like, partners and, like, commit domestic violence and stuff, but just this, like, is it like I don't think we see, like, I just don't think we see accounts from people who are like, my boyfriend or my husband is a liberal and he's, like, really violent and dangerous, and I'm calling into this show to talk about it because I want people to know how dangerous liberals are. I just, like, thank you for the $100, Mark. I wish it came at a different time than that. He really loves what I do. He thinks I'm bringing critical thinking back to America. Keep up the incredible work, and free noodle. Yeah. Thank you, Mark. I read RA. I don't know. No, I did. The Blues sent $5 to say, I don't see why MAGA is such a big fan of masks. Their mouths are usually open so wide they can't see their faces. Thank you. Let's see if she messaged me right away, so I don't lose the... Sorry, everybody. I'm just going to take a moment to check on that. Okay. We're going to talk to King Kong 23666. Thanks, everybody, for the things. Hey, how old are you?
Hello.
Hey.
22.
Do you support Trump?
I do.
Why is that?
I support his big beautiful bill, how it pretty much lowered taxes for the lowest income tax brackets.
No, that's false.
The IRS. IRS. Can I finish?
No, because that's horseshit, and I think you know it. Who told you that? You said the IRS told you that?
IRS.gov, the highest brackets, the 10 and 12%, actually received a.
No, I think you're coming out. Stop talking and listen. I think that you're coming out. I think
you're not going to let me talk. That's how it usually goes.
I'll let you talk if you turn your camera on and show me that you're serious, because I've detected that I don't think you are.
I'm not going to turn on my camera.
Then get the fuck off my show, coward. I'm not doing it today. I'm going to talk to Psycrowbob or something like that. No, we're not. Oh, King Kong, is he going to come back with his camera on? Let's see if he's a coward or not. You still a coward?
Why are you scared?
Get off my fucking show, coward. Here's my face. People know where I'm going to be. People know exactly where I'm going to be on August 22nd. I'm going to be out there in the streets of Minneapolis fighting against fucking Nazis. Come fucking find me if you have a problem with it. You're friendly. I've seen your username in the chat a lot.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, you didn't mean to join. W's for Eric. He's a friendly. I've seen him in the chat before. Leonardo 19 Delta. I'm gonna check if he's a coward. I hope not. Don't want to talk to cowards. I much prefer talking to people who actually stand on what they believe in.
Oscar, did you get your teeth fixed yet, you fucking dingaling?
Splinter got a new account. He's not a coward. He's a psychopath. He did turn his camera on, though. For $1, alright, said, not trying to pry, but was last caller seemed to bum you out a bit, or was it just the last dono message? No, it's just that was a heavier moment on the show. We're gonna talk to Period. Period's a problematic caller.
No, I can't even lie. Those teeth are fucking insane.
Let's see yours. Camera on.
You heard what I said?
Camera on. Let's see yours.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, they are. Let's see yours.
Oh my god! Yeah, he was right.
Let's see yours.
Crazy.
Real brave from behind the internet. Let's see your fucking face, you coward. Let's do it.
Oh my god, them teeth are black too.
Really?
Them bitches are black too.
You're gonna make fun of a man's teeth without showing yours? What kind of person are you?
Yes, I am, bro. Yes, I am.
You a bitch. That's what type of person you are. We're gonna talk to. Oh, Lena, you know what? We'll talk to Splinter for a fucking moment. We'll see. He already showed his face. What's up,
bro? Why are you crashing out today, Oscar? What's going on, bud? You having a bad day?
If you had empathy, you'd know why I'm crashing out today. What are we talking about, Splinter?
Empathy about what, bro? Illegals have killed more Americans than ICE agents, you fucking idiot.
How many illegal immigrants are there?
I mean, probably over 20, 30 million, dude.
Source.
But you're going to be like, oh, show me the proof. Show me the proof.
No, dude, like, come on, it's disingenuous.
Are you glitching
bullshit.
out right now?
No, dude, I just don't give a shit about your bullshit, disingenuous argument about the 20 or 30,000 ICE agents there are against the 12 million. Even in consideration of the fact that there's 12 million illegal immigrants, you have to inflate the number to 20, 30 million, which is bullshit, and you know it. Come on, dude.
Give me a second. Oscar, give me a second. So that first guest that you had come on when he was talking about the big, beautiful bill, are you literally telling us that Donald Trump and the Republicans didn't lower every bracket and corporate tax rate?
I think you know damn well that you can do that and still
I think you don't fucking know your answer, bud.
I think you're afraid of my answer, you bitch. Get off my show. Splinter's banned. I'm done with that motherfucker. He's never going to appear on this show again, except on all these burner fucking accounts that he needs to make because people ban him for saying reprehensible shit because he's somebody who can't control his need to slur at people. That dude's a psychopath. I fucking worry for the women who cross paths with him in their lives. MAGA 102, are you a Trump supporter? How old are you?
I am.
How old are you?
Why'd you run from the other guys? I'm 22.
All right, because they wouldn't turn their cameras on. That's the game we're playing today. Turn your camera on or you can't be on the show.
You're a fucking pussy-ass liberal bitch in 2028, mother...
All right, we got more pussy-ass liberal bitches who are willing to show their face and tell the world that they're going to be fighting literal fucking Nazis on the streets of the city they live in on August 22nd, you bitch-ass Jake Lang fans. Fucking cowards, every fucking one of them. Every fucking one of these pussies who comes up and says to me that I'm ugly or that I'm a bitch. Are you fucking kidding me? How is it even fun to tell somebody that they're a bitch on the internet when you won't turn on your camera and do it with your pretty fucking mug? Like, what the fuck is this? I can't understand it. Why do they call in? Is it just, does it make it feel good to say mean things? I know that's what it is.
I'm just here to say I love what you do, bro.
Appreciate you, Skylar. Thanks for hopping up. I'm gonna see if Belmire is a Trump supporter. Yay, gotta do copyright strike work on the VOD today. That's gonna delay it a few hours. Fun. Tylenius sent $5 to say, actually, the stereotype for left men is the opposite. They are that they are weak and sub. Yeah. Chippote? I don't know how to read that username. They sent me $10 to say, the escaped AI feels like a stunt. Their statement on it reads like publicity hype. We consider this incident to be an unprecedented cyber incident involving state-of-the-art cyber capabilities. Ugh, yeah, maybe. What's that? False flag. False flag AI. Maybe. I do consider the possibility of like certain conspiracies more seriously when I'm offline. I can't really ruminate about them online because people will think I'm like being certain about this, but like, it's possible. I wouldn't put it past OpenAI to do that sort of thing. Blancs sent $5 to say, why are the callers such whiny babies today? I don't know. Maybe they think I'm being a whiny baby about how cowardly they all are. Reformuck 3432344. I'm gonna see if they're to be taken seriously. How old are you?
Shut up, nigger, you fucking nigger bitch.
It's all they got. It's the best they got. Faceless cowards. Period. Was he up already today? Who's this? Oh yeah, it's the noisy one. Don't be so noisy when you're gonna call in. Oh man. Belmere, get out of here. Gotta get him blocked. I'm in a bad mood now. August 22nd is going to be an interesting day. They're calling it the N-word march. Except they don't say N-word. And the AI slop graphic design that Jake Lang is sending around doesn't say N-word on it. It says the N-word on it, if you know what I mean. And I find that to be just absolutely fucking insane. Because that's what we're up against. The masks are coming off. And the dangerous thing is that it's all these cowards on the internet normalizing this type of speech, normalizing this type of behavior that allows, like Jake Lang, I'll say a lot of fucking things about Jake Lang, but he's not a coward. And that makes him much more dangerous than all these faceless cowards on the internet, which is why I'm going to go there and represent fucking goodness and empathy in the world. Because I think he's going to find out, as he did last time, that more empathetic people are going to show up than non-empathetic people, regardless of how hard he works to make non-empathetic people show up. So I'm going to be there for that. Arabella sent $2 to say, Oscar, don't listen to these bitches who hide behind their camera and insult the way you look. It's embarrassing for them, honestly. You mog the hell out of them with looks, especially knowledge, and they all know it. Keep up the good work, man. There's only one person whose opinion I care about when it comes to my looks. And today's show is making me wish I hadn't left her house this morning. I'm only doing 2 hours. Not in the mood for it today. We'll do one more. Hover that disconnect button on this bullshit username. How old are you?
22.
You a Trump supporter?
Yep.
Why is that?
I just support him.
Why?
I support him deporting illegal people who broke Law 8 USC and
yeah, cool. Could you turn your
improper
camera
entry.
on just to make sure that you're the type of person who's okay with their political beliefs being associated with what they look like? Their identity?
I just don't feel the need to be honest.
Then get the fuck off my show. I'm not doing that today. Thank you, Lucky Phil, for the buy me a coffee. You sent me $5 to say, ooh, where did it go? Was that a new one, or was that just an email about an old one? No, he sent a couple. He sent $2 to say pee pee poo poo. Yeah, adding a little lighthearted inside joke at the end of the show. Every day is a good day to punch a Nazi in the face, says Lucky Phil in Minecraft hypothetically for $2. Thank you. $10 from Snake to say, Oscar, Discord wanted me to share this number for the domestic violence hotline. 1-800-799-7233. 1-800-799-7233. That number again is 1-800-799-7233. And you can always Google that, and the person who picks up really will want to help you. I know a lot of people have been helped by helplines. You first. Safety first. Such a simple rule. Doesn't matter whether we're talking about, using a tool alone in your garage or designing policy for a country. Safety first. And if you're not safe, you can't help. So worry about yourself. Garrett sent $5 to say, do all us favor, let's see. Do all of us a favor and get yourself a Kevlar vest. Jake Lang wears a Kevlar vest. Dumbass doesn't even put plates in it, though. Canadian Vicky said $2 to say, fuck him. We all think you're attractive. Thank you, Canadian Vicky. I'm proud of the fact that I get to not be a keyboard warrior. Like, it's a little obnoxious for me to sit here and be like, sorry, false, I'm not a keyboard warrior. I go out there and face it. I tell the public where I'm going to be. Because it is true that people, like, political violence is a concern, but I know I'm on the right side of history. But I'm just getting to a point where if you want to participate in it, maybe it does take a little bravery regardless of which side you're on. But I'm just not interested in giving the benefit to the trolls of letting them hide behind their lack of camera, their anonymous TikTok account, to go spread hate. That's the ethical concern that we who platform monsters have to have. Because we have to ask, at what point is it harmful to just let these people spread their bullshit? But yeah. All right, thank you for the $10. You said, for the entertainment during my Uber Eats deliveries, I truly appreciate and respect that you stand on business. When it comes down to it, you're advocating for others. I'm going to keep doing that. Elusive Viper said, for $5, going on vacation, but before I go, you guys should check out this band I found called Sensing Agony. They have a new single. Yeah, the new single is called Fall, and you should go listen to Fall by Sensing Agony. I agree. That's been the Oskar Quentin Show for today, everybody. Lucky Phil has one more. He said, what did he say? He said, "Smile, Kronos thinks you're hot." He sure does. Thank you for the $2. That's the Oskar Quentin Show for today. We've been aiming for 4 hours more, but that's not set in stone yet. So I'm gonna wrap a little early today, if in consideration of the longer shows. But I have been enjoying the longer shows. Thanks everybody. Megan said, for $1, you don't have to share it. Wait, Do I have to share it? Let's see what the whole message is. You don't have to share it, but you have a truly beautiful smile and it's part of you. If you fixed your teeth, that would be fine too. But I also long for, what does it say? Oh, some stuff about dental work. They say I'm loved as I am. I'm not too worried about it. Thanks everybody. I'll see you tomorrow on TikTok Live, 10 o'clock Central, every day. Even though sometimes people are monstrous. Goodbye TikTok. See you tomorrow. And goodbye YouTube.